In 2025, the Korean supernatural thriller horror movie begins inside an old and crumbling apartment complex where people are mysteriously vanishing and falling to their deaths.
No one could imagine that behind all these strange accidents was something connected to the strange noise from upstairs. A girl named Chao Shi lived here, in apartment 604. Every night, she was tortured by the sound above her, unable to sleep. To find proof of where the noise came from, Chao Shi used a video camera to record everything. But in the recording, besides the noise from upstairs, there was also a strange breathing sound. That breathing sound didn't seem human at all. Chao Shi's heart nearly jumped to her throat, but the darkness outside showed nothing she could see. Just then, the doorbell rang. Chao Shi put the camera down on the table, but the camera suddenly switched to face detection mode by itself. Chao Shi noticed something strange by the window. Holding the recorded evidence, she decided to confront the people upstairs. Inside the house, the chewing sounds grew louder and louder, and Chao Shi finally felt something was very wrong. That very night, Chao Shi disappeared without a trace. A few days later, her sister, Zhao Yin, received a call from her company. They told her Chao Shi hadn't shown up for 4 days straight. Her phone was blowing up with missed calls, but she never answered. Zhao Yin was just an ordinary factory worker. Since she stayed long-term in a company dorm, she didn't contact her sister often. But when she heard Zhao Shi had been absent for 4 days without reason, she decided to return home and check. When she entered the house, she found a mess everywhere, the floor completely in chaos. She pushed open her sister's bedroom door, but Chao Shi was nowhere to be found. Seeing this, Zhao Yin quickly pulled out her phone and dialed her sister's number, but on the other end, the call said the phone was turned off. She remembered her sister's strange behavior before she vanished. Chao Shi often complained about the loud thumping noise from upstairs. She even had a big fight about it. "Don't make noise again. Don't make noise again. Don't make noise again," she kept shouting. But Zhao Yin couldn't hear any noise at all, because since childhood, she had hearing loss. Only with a hearing aid could she hear the outside world clearly. While searching the house, Zhao Yin found her sister's phone inside her bag, but the phone had long since shut down with no battery. Suddenly, Zhao Yin heard banging noises, but she couldn't tell where they came from. Just then came a slow knocking sound at the door. "Who are you? Open the door. Who are you?" Listen carefully. Think carefully. Listen carefully. The man outside looked polite on the surface, but his heart was full of rage, as if the next second he would rip Zhao Yin apart if she made even a little noise. But Zhao Yin wasn't making the noise. She had no idea how the upstairs noise was created. To search for her sister, Zhao Yin went to the security office for help, but the guard knew nothing. Just then, a tenant rushed in, saying a terrible stench was coming from the basement. The security guard took them to check. The iron door downstairs had been locked for years. Garbage had piled up for a decade, and the dark, damp basement reeked of rot. That night, when Zhao Yin returned home, she saw a large note stuck on her door. It was another warning telling her not to make noise. Clearly, it was from the neighbor downstairs again. Zhao Yin didn't want to argue. Right now, she only wanted to find her sister. After trying different ways to unlock the phone, Zhao Yin finally got into it. Inside, she found many audio recordings. With Bluetooth, she connected them to her hearing aid. As she played the recordings, she suddenly couldn't tell if the noise was coming from the recordings or from the real apartment upstairs. As she listened, she was startled again and again. The next day, Zhao Shi's boyfriend came to the door. After days of no contact, Ki Yun was very worried. Together, they decided to search for Zhao Shi. But in the same night, the neighbor from 504 downstairs knocked on the door again. Ki Yun told Zhao Yun not to worry and said he would check first. Zhao Yin quickly hid to avoid being seen. Thanks to Ki Yun's presence, the man from 504 didn't dare cause real trouble and finally left. But in his hand was a knife, and his heart was already boiling with hate. At the same time, Xiao Yin heard what seemed like her sister's voice. It sounded as if it came through the water pipes. But when she listened carefully again, the voice was gone. Late at night, Xiao Yin got up to use the bathroom. When she turned her head, she saw a strange face outside the window, getting closer and closer. She broke out in cold sweat. Who could be outside her window at this hour? Other than a ghost, she couldn't think of anyone else. Just as she was about to escape through the door, the man from 504 came knocking again. But when Xiao Yin turned back toward the window, the figure was gone. Thinking it was just a trick to scare her, she grabbed a knife and rushed to the balcony. The man outside finally left, and Xiao Yin's heart calmed a little bit. But the neighbor from 504 wasn't so lucky. He was terrified and ran off. As he pressed the elevator button, the next morning, Xiao Yin heard a commotion from the crowd outside. When she went to look, she saw the man from 504 lying dead in the snow. At last, suspicion fell on the man from 504. Could he have locked her sister inside his room? Her sister's friend hurried into the apartment to search, but after checking every corner, nothing was found. They decided the man's death in 504 must have been just an accident. A woman from the neighborhood committee soon came upstairs. When she saw Xiao Yin reporting her sister's disappearance to the police, instead of helping, she scolded her, telling her not to stir up trouble. She was afraid that if things grew louder, it would affect the progress of the building's demolition and she would lose her share of the compensation money. Xiao Yin's sister had vanished for no reason, yet in the face of money, the woman showed no humanity at all. To learn the truth of what happened in 604, Xiao Yin then went to visit Lena, who lived in 804. The photos inside her home showed that Lena once had an 8-year-old daughter. But just then, Xiao Yin felt as if someone rushed past her from behind. Xiao Yin explained her purpose. She wanted to ask about the former tenant of 604 and also the woman from 704. Lena told her everything. Years ago, the woman in 704 often came upstairs to complain, saying the footsteps of Lena's daughter were too noisy, disturbing her rest. Lena apologized again and again, promising to keep her daughter quiet. Only then would the woman calm down and leave. But soon after, the woman's mind completely snapped. And no one realized another man was standing silently outside their door. He was the former tenant of 604. Because of disputes, he went upstairs to confront the woman in 704. In the end, he killed her, and after that night, the man completely vanished. If 704 was left empty, then what was the source of the noises Xiao Yin kept hearing above her every night? To uncover the truth, Qi Shun pulled up old surveillance records. The last image of the man showed him at the elevator on the first floor. No records of him leaving, no signs outside, as if he had simply vanished into thin air. Qi Shun guessed the man might be hiding somewhere everyone ignored, a forgotten place. At once, Xiao Yin thought of the basement that had gone uncleared for 10 years. That night, the two of them snuck inside. The stench was overwhelming. They turned on the lights and began to search. Inside, they found 2 heavy iron doors. To cover more ground, they split up. Among the piles of garbage, Qi Shun found the corpse of Hua Yilang. He quickly took out his camera and began filming. Suddenly, a piercing sound screamed in his ears. On the other side, Xiao Yin discovered another iron door. He wanted Qi Shun to come over, but Qi Shun gave no reply, only a cold order to stand still. This made Xiao Yin's fear rise even higher. In panic, Xiao Yin grabbed a rock and struck Qi Shun, knocking him down, and he ran for the exit. But Qi Shun seemed to lose all reason, chasing him relentlessly. Just as Xiao Yin was about to escape, everything went black. When he opened his eyes again, he was lying in the office of the neighborhood woman. She told him she had found him while making her nightly patrol. Then she revealed something chilling. Lena's daughter had actually died years ago in a car accident. Xiao Yin froze. If that was true, then the child he saw earlier in Lena's apartment wasn't human at all. Soon the police arrived. They brought out 2 bodies from the basement. One pale arm wore a familiar watch. It was Qishun's. Xiao Yin rushed forward in shock, unwilling to believe it. But Qishun was already gone. The police insisted they had searched everything in the basement. Apart from Hua Yilong's body, there was no trace of Zhao Shi. But Zhao Yin swore there was another iron door leading to a hidden space. No matter how he argued, the police dismissed it as nonsense. With no one believing him, Zhao Yin decided to take the risk alone. He returned to the basement with a flashlight, headed straight for the locked iron door. There, he discovered his sister's broken camera. Though it was smashed,
the video data had been linked to her phone. Zhu Ying opened it and watched the last video Zhu Shi ever recorded. The footage showed Zhu Shi walking into Lena's apartment. Inside were several machines, vibrating non-stop, creating endless noise. Through a crack in the door, she saw Lena speaking as if to someone, but when she leaned closer, there was no one there. Terrified, Zhu Shi tried to run, but was suddenly shoved to the ground. Zhu Ying's eyes went wide. The murderer who killed his sister was Lena from 804. In a corner of the room, bound hand and foot, was Zhu Shi. She was still breathing, though weakly. Zhu Ying rushed to free her and help her escape, but at the doorway, a figure blocked their way. It was Lena. To protect his sister, Zhu Ying hid her in a dark corner, then stepped out alone to confront the woman. "I heard you," Lena whispered, her voice trembling. "I destroyed everything. What am I supposed to do? She always tried to take my daughter away from me. I had no choice." "You're insane," Zhu Ying shouted. "Your daughter is gone. She died. That girl you see, it isn't real." But Lena only screamed back, denying it, saying she had seen her daughter with her own eyes. She had been making the noise on purpose, desperate to keep her daughter close, desperate to stop the demolition of the building. The 2 women struggled violently, but Lena had a hammer.
2个女人就在扭打在一起，但由于捏到手握铁锤，周燕很快就处于下风。
Soon, Zhu Ying was struck on the head, blood spilling. And behind Lena, that same eerie, jaw-clenching sound rose again. The iron door slammed shut. The noise faded. Everything fell silent. Zhu Shi was rescued at last. But the story was not over. Years later, a new tenant moved into the upstairs apartment. Inside his room, he swore he could hear people living above him. But when he went to check, there was no one there. He had no idea he was already stepping into a nightmare.